Hafa and welcome back to another episode of On the Trail with Felix and Tony. I am Tony Adelup, Senator in the 36th Guam Legislature, alongside my partner, former Governor Felix Camacho. Join us every week for On the Trail as we campaign for the upcoming 2022 gubernatorial elections. You will get an insight into our platform, our thoughts on the issues that our island faces, and everything upcoming onto the trail to the 2022 primary and general elections. Hafa Gov, how are you doing, sir?
Hafa Senator. It's an exciting time. This podcast is, we've got another really special guest that's joining us on the trail this week, and it is former Governor Eddie Calvo. And I have to say, we have both served together in the Guam legislature. I then went on to run for governor, and then followed after 2 terms, followed by Governor Eddie Calvo. And what's very interesting also is the fact that both our fathers have served as governors of Guam, serving the people of Guam. So we really have a legacy of contributing and serving the people of Guam. And Governor, welcome, and please, the floor is yours, and anything you'd like to say.
Yeah, Governor.
Thank you so much, Governor Camacho, and soon-to-be Lieutenant Governor Tony Ada. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. Again, there's a lot of history, and I thought about it just a few days ago because I was together with my 2 boys, and my 2 sons, Eddie and Vinny, are very, very much involved in the gubernatorial campaign,
yes,
in the youth group with Camacho Ada, and of course, their belief in the conservative values of faith and family that you folks uphold in the Republican Party. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you make mention about it. It goes back to the evolution of elected politics in Guam. Mm-hmm. So with your father and my dad, they actually at the time was called the Territorial Party of Guam.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. The forerunners of the Republicans. So they were one of the early founders
of the party.
Of the party. And getting so heavily involved in elected public office in the beginning, mm-hmm, when, remember, before Guam, everything was run by the Navy. And now there's an evolution where myself and you have served together in the legislature. We've served in a capacity of the executive branch as governors. Yeah. And now we have another generation, your kids and my kids, that are also getting actively involved in
working campaign together.
Yeah, it's just terrific. So,
absolutely.
Again, thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to working with you and seeing whatever I can do, promoting the campaign and ensuring that we have you have ultimate victory in November, and we have a clean sweep with the gubernatorial team, as well as our congressional delegate and a Republican majority in the legislature. So thank you and God bless you.
Well, you're most welcome. And Senator, I know that one of the things we wanted to talk about with our good governor here is about party unity. There have been statements made that we have that were splintered and made reference to your family and my family, or our groups, I think it was referred to as. And I think even the topic of illegal aliens and what's coming in. So why don't we begin with that? Because I know in your term, Governor, you certainly had to deal with illegal aliens, and so, but let's first get to the party unity thing.
Yeah.
Why don't we continue on that track?
Yeah, I'm not too sure when I'm looking at, in fact, from the very beginning, first of all, we both have been in positions of leadership, mm-hmm, both the governor and myself. And when you are in that position, decisions that you make are not always the most popular.
Right.
And sometimes when you make decisions, there are people that like them and don't like them, but you got to stand by your decisions. But there's nothing personal. So you can never have perfection when it comes to everybody agreeing, even with one party. Mm-hmm. So whatever this thought is that because maybe there's differences of opinion on how we've made decisions, mm-hmm, that does not mean that we all agree in one thing. And one thing we do agree in is that with the leadership of Camacho Ada, what we did see for 16 years of progress being made in this island, first with your first 8 years, mm-hmm, and then with the 8 years, my term serving the governor, that, let's face it, that those 16 years of stability and growth, how quickly things have reversed over the past 3.5 years.
Yes.
And this whole statement by the current governor that there's disaffection or a split, nothing is farther from the truth. When I sat down with you for a lunch and you announced you told me your intentions to run, I was, again, you knew even back then, and that was months ago, that you had my, I had your, I was giving you my full support.
Yes, absolutely.
And a lot of it has to do with what we like I said, we don't always agree with everything, but the core values, the core beliefs of how we govern, we're very similar.
Absolutely.
And what I saw with Governor Camacho, first of all, he's a man of faith. And I think anyone who steps into office in a position of leadership, you got to believe there's something greater than you.
Absolutely.
And of course, I happen to be a firm believer in Jesus Christ, the same as you. So when I saw the decision-making process and why you decided to want to run for governor, and really for me, serving 8 years as governor and how much energy that is required, the amount of sacrifice that is made by you and the people around you and especially
your
the loved ones. Yeah. I think I remember you think, Governor, you want to run? And
yes.
But when you told me again of a lot of prayer and a lot of what you saw, what was going on in this island, you had to step up. So with that sold me on you.
Yeah.
And then also I know your style, and we're very similar. I think one of the things I've seen, the contrast of the 3 years of leadership as opposed to the 16 years of our collective leadership in Adelup, is ultimately we always believed that we serve the people. And I saw that in the humility that you've had over the years as a governor. You can be confident, you can be strong, but you gotta be also humble and understanding that you serve the people. And Governor Camacho, I've seen that in you. And which means is that ultimately you have to have confidence in the people, and that they know what are the right decisions to be made about themselves, about their families, about their businesses. And so when we sat down together and listened to, again, your views, not only in faith but in governance, and how important you believed in the people of Guam, I said this is the man that we need to change the course and the negative course of this island. So, and then aside from that, I love this guy Tony Atta too.
Tony Atta,
that guy. I was mentioning, we to straighten out the ship of state when I first came in, we needed to get a plan through the Democratic controlled legislature. And I don't know how you and Chris Duenas did it, but being a minority, they somehow were able to cajole and massage their fellow senators on both sides of the aisle, and we had a democratically controlled legislature ultimately vote for our economic stability plan, and the rest is history. So Tony,
and
you did a great job as a senator, and then of course coming into my administration, did a great job in our administration as well. So it's an honor. By the way, I'm going to be very clear about it. I talked too long. I, Eddie Basa Calvo, and my family throw our wholehearted support for Governor Camacho and Senator Tony Atta, and our votes both this August in the primary and in the November general election. You got our support and our votes, and also we're throwing our support for all Republican candidates, both in the congressional and the legislative race.
Awesome.
So go get him, man.
Thank you, Governor.
That's great to hear, Gov. So, I'm sitting here looking at you, and look at that hair. What have you been doing lately since you've been out of office? Give us a little update, what you've been up to.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, and the governor knows this. Every time I talk about my experience, where I am and where I was at, the governor knows it, because he was governor before me. I always felt I never was stressed. Remember we served together. You were in my administration. I didn't feel stressed. It wasn't until I left office. And then all of a sudden oh my God, I had this 50-pound bag on my back. You don't realize you're in stress until you leave it. Mm-hmm. So that's why, again, I'm so I'm so thankful that Governor Felix is deciding to run again, because he's going to put that big backpack on it, on again, assuming the responsibilities of the governorship. But man, it was, when I left office, it was, first of all, the biggest honor in my life to serve the people of Guam. But then I was able to take the pressures of being a governor and those responsibilities and focused a lot of my activities now on my family and our family business. So since I've gone out of office, I've grown my hair, I grew a beard. I'm spending more time with my wife, my children, my grandchildren, my mom and my dad, my siblings. Spending a lot of time gardening, a little bit more golfing. I'm not as good as Governor Felix, but I'm gonna practice. So I can't wait to get into your golf tournament soon.
We have one coming up. So I like to see you. I can actually drive the golf cart. Can't drive but I can drive a golf cart.
But also spending time with the family business. So I'm president and CEO of PMC Investments, which is a holding company that owns Payless and some real estate and a wholesale company. At the same time, I'm also vice president over at Calvary Enterprises, working with my primos at Calvary Enterprises. So I got a daytime job in the family businesses, and then a lot of love with my family. And of course, for the next few months, I look forward to devoting a lot of time, in assisting you folks in winning this upcoming election.
Oh,
that's
terrific. Great to hear. Thank you, Gov. Appreciate that. Go ahead, Gov. You want to move on to the illegal alien issue?
Yes, I think that's a very interesting one. I know that we've heard the current administration and the governor saying that the jurisdiction is really one of federal law and authority, and there's really nothing they can do in the enforcement of it and prevention of illegals stepping onto our shore, and we can't detain them. But I recall in your time, Governor, there were a lot of illegal aliens also coming over, primarily Chinese. Mm-hmm. I believe wasn't there a structure, a tent-like structure established in DOC to house them? And then you began to work with the federal authorities in how to deal with them. Mm-hmm. But we can look at what has been stated. We can look at what's happening on the island. And then as a reference, look at the United States and how several of the border states, the southern border states, have been having, particularly Texas, and how they have been handling it with Governor Abbott. Mm-hmm. But there is great concern for the people of Guam not understanding or knowing who these individuals are, and we believe that more can be done. And I just wanted to ask you perspective and any comments you may have on that.
I see some parallels to some of the issues that we had in Guam when I was governor. It was interesting because 6 years of my term were under the Obama administration, and 2 years were under the Trump administration. And I'm seeing a strong parallel in Biden immigration policy and border protection policy with what we saw on the Obama administration. The issue not only on the Chinese nationals that were housed in DOC and how slow the progress was to expatriating them back for processing by the federal government. Then at the same time, we had the issue of COFA and the Compact Impact Treaty and also
free association
and the laws. Mm-hmm. We're very welcoming of all COFA citizens, but the federal government was very explicit in the treaties and in federal law that if someone commits a felony that is a non-citizen, including COFA, then they are deportable, and there are to be retainers put on them. So once they serve their time, then it is the federal government's responsibility to deport them. What had happened on the Obama period is we had, I hate to say it, dozens upon dozens, actually close to the hundreds, of non-citizens that had committed heinous acts of rape, murder, assault, and were being imprisoned. Mm-hmm. But the federal government was not deporting them. They did their time, and they're released, and there was this recidivism that was ongoing. And I remember bringing this up to the federal government. He said, "This is the law. This is your treaty." And it was Arthur Clark, my lead counsel at the time, talking to the lead counsel for Homeland Security and Customs and Border Patrol, and they stated, "This is not our priority." Again, this is the Obama period. So, again, similar to what Governor Abbott's doing, we decided to take matters in our own hand, and I commuted the sentence of these individuals, and we even purchased a one-way ticket. I billed the federal government for it.
So they basically served. You basically commuted the balance of their sentence.
Usually, it was anyone over about 80%. Say it served 80% of their time, and they had already had a see what was happening. These folks have detainers, but the federal government never, even though they had detainers, were never deporting them. It was not a priority. Yet so many citizens were being injured or raped or killed because of the federal government not doing their job. So I remember the first 5 that we did was not sanctioned by the federal government. I just told the federal government, we're going to do it. We're going to bill you. And if you let your Border Patrol folks let them through again in the airport, then my customs people are going to stop them. And we're going to have you handle them, because we're not going to let them back into Guam to commit mayhem. It was after the 5th one that the federal government finally cooperated with us. So I think what needs to occur, again, this is something that's happening not only in this Democratic administration, saying that their hands are tied, but I think also President Biden. And that's where we have to put a firm hold on. If they won't do their jobs, then we got to do the jobs for them. And I wish, the current governor wouldn't pass the buck. Another thing, with all the prices that are going up right now in Guam, there's one item that's gone down dramatically, and it's crystal methamphetamine. This is also tied to the Democratic Border Patrol policy by President Biden. So what's going on in the United States with that open borders, where illegal immigrants are coming in, they're bringing in the crystal meth, the fentanyl, and unfortunately, it's coming to Guam, and it's polluting. And you see the crime element here too. So, we're hopeful that you get in office. You're gonna, and I know you folks will. You're gonna do a better job if the feds aren't gonna do it, we're gonna do it. And then at the same time, we get someone in Congress, and we get a majority in Congress that can somehow reverse course from this crazy policy by Biden to allow illegal immigrants and drugs into our nation and our territory.
Yeah, I think we have a video actually of that was recorded by a local here up north in Guam by Retidian, and we could run that. That really shows what, and this is just a small portion of what's going on.
So you can see them waiting.
Where you guys came from? Hello? Hey. Where you guys came from? You guys come from Rhoda?
I don't know English. Small English, I don't know.
You come from boat?
Huh?
Boat?
What? I don't know English.
Then here you see a car pick them up.
There's other individuals in the car other than them.
So there's syndicates and cartels involved. The same what's happening here is what's happening in the border.
Yeah.
Hi, where you guys came from?
Oh, somebody got the fish.
Ah,
Oh,
okay,
yeah. The last morning come the fish.
Fish.
okay.
Yeah.
So he claims they went fishing.
都人家接走了，你们干嘛不让人家接走了？
Yeah, so this seems to be happening quite often. And first, it was the boats that were washing up ashore on the beach sides, and now we got Chinese immigrants that are illegal immigrants that are, hiding in the jungles. And I'm just really taken back by the non-concern of the federal government, being that Guam has just been, is such a high target for our our enemies. And
Yeah, Gov, when I look at it's, I'm seeing the Biden administration the same. What's occurred in Obama? It's even more open border, so they're not doing their jobs, and then the current administration at the same time is passing the buck and saying, "I can't do anything about it." Maybe she should look towards Governor Abbott and Governor Ducey of Arizona on their methods of protecting the border if the federal government won't do it. But
yeah, and I think also a coordinated effort with the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas and not only the governor and lieutenant governor, but the mayors of both Rota, Saipan, and Tinian, because they are apparently Chinese workers that entered the Sinai legally for perhaps construction work or some other authorized work under their program, and have overstayed. Typically, they would be allowed to go back, and the employer can reapply for another 3 years, or they can find work within 30 days or so. But apparently, they choose instead to find a way to come into Guam and find work. And many in the community have said that this has been happening for quite a while now. There's no number or count of how many people have actually come across over our reefs, and either by boat or being dropped off at the reef, and they've got these floaters on and life vests and are able to make it aboard, and somebody picks them up. So obviously it's well coordinated. And where are they now in the community? We have no background on who these individuals are. There is a security issue, and it is of great concern to many of our people. And so we do need to, the government of Guam does need to work with the CNMI, but also the federal authorities. And it may not be a priority of theirs, but it is a priority for the territory of Guam. And so, we've got to do everything we can as a territory.
the other irony, Governor, we saw that's near Retidian.
yeah,
So these are Chinese nationals, and they are coming ashore in one of the most strategic American air bases in East Asia and the Western Pacific. Something does not connect right here,
Yeah,
especially when what's going on in Taiwan.
I mean, especially
and aspirations of
this past
China as the
week.
next great superpower.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my goodness!
you got your work ahead of you, but I know you folks will do it.
Gov,
Hopefully, we can get a Republican president in 2 years.
we were so excited to bring Governor Calvo on that we didn't discuss what we did this past week. It was really interesting. We had the what do they call it? The induction ceremony of the Knights of Columbus. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Knights of Columbus. Up in
I think it was a Dedido organization.
right. It was the Council 10752, the Assembly 2386. They had their induction of their new officers, and it was such a pleasure to be there to see them all get inducted and to see what the Knights of Columbus have in store for their new upcoming year. And I think this past week again we had the that coordination between Guam and Taiwan with the game to try and control our pet population here. So that that also went on. I visited that the other day, and then last night we had the Harvest House.
Harvest House.
I went to Harvest House for the
foster children.
For the foster children. Yeah, it was their backpack. What they do is they back to school supply stash. So what the kids do is they go in there, they get a backpack, and then they're able to get some school supplies, put it in, and go through the line. They need some clothes, and then at the other end, they play some games, and have some snacks.
I understand the beautiful thing of that is it's not for the students of Harvest,
No,
but for the many students that
our foster families.
foster families,
Yeah.
exactly. And so it's a wonderful thing where the entire community comes and donates and provides all the supplies, even businesses. So it's wonderful. We also had a tour of, while you were busy doing many of these other things, we had to break rank, and
Yeah.
I had to go. And one of the wonderful things is being able to go to many of the small businesses or businesses that are established on Guam, and be able to go and talk to the employees and meet with management and get to understand what their concerns are. And the questions are quite pointed and very much concerned about, what are you going to do about the economy? And so the questions they pose to you are very, very detailed, and there's quite an interest. What excites me is that these are working individuals that are very much concerned about the future of our island, and not only for their place of employment and what they do, but the result of what the impact on their families and their livelihood, and their concern about the future, and they're looking for hope, they're looking for opportunity. And we always believe that despite troubled times and despite chaos that is apparent out there, and all the fear that's been created over the past couple of years, there is always opportunity to be found and hope to be offered to our people where we can turn things around. And I think that was very evident in our terms, as we always looked for opportunity. We also had an amazing fundraiser last night from people of different walks of life, a very low budget thing, but the people that showed up, faces we hadn't seen before. But beyond the opportunity to give our message to them, was what I like is the side conversations. Can I talk to you about this? And they pull you aside.
Yeah.
And I saw you tried to leave, but you got pulled in, and
Yeah.
you had a very intense one-on-one conversation with one of the
Bobby.
participants. Yeah.
It was
with
great.
Bobby,
Yeah. She's a wonderful lady. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then today we had the opportunity to be at the Harmon baseball fields and be there for the Special Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, we did the medaling for the gold, silver, and bronze medalists, and that was such an opportunity to see all of our Special Olympics folks back out onto the field after 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Now they're coming back out to play and re-engage in activities that
And when you see
keep
that
them
area,
healthy.
including where the soccer field is, that was
Yeah.
really both the Camacho and the Calvo administrations, how that evolved. And now
Yeah.
it has become such a focal point for our youth. And all those are looking for, health and sporting type of activities and health and welfare. So great job to the Camacho administration. We
And
just
the
kinda-
Calvo
we
administration.
passed the baton to us, and we just kept it going.
Yeah. And then the KAL, the Korean Airlines Memorial, was also today.
Yeah.
So, we had an opportunity to go up there and spend a few moments with them as well, and, memorialize after 25 years. Wow. So it was just such a very touching moment. And, that's what rounded off this week. And tomorrow will be our Southern District meeting down in Agate.
Yeah. Could you go on and expound on that a bit, Senator?
Yeah, so our Southern District meeting will be held down at Melvin Nedadog's residence. We had a wave yesterday also, just to kind of, get everybody excited and worked up so that when they come out Sunday, they can bring out their yelling
I'm going to
voices
be
with
there.
them.
What time should we?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah, be there at 5 o'clock. We start at 5, so, we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be exciting. And I think that once we see more, just build up of people that just keep coming out, it's just truly amazing. It's really amazing to see. You enjoyed that, huh?
Yeah,
Yesterday.
it certainly is. Had to loosen up the shoulder a bit, but we've been doing a lot of that, and it's been fun. So, just a great time, Senator.
Yeah. Well, so this week now we have our what we got on. What do we got going on this week? Yeah. You want to go ahead and.
Okay, so I got one from Zach Hasita. He said, your platform outlines several economic strategies, including a different diversification task force and creating an export industry. Do you have any specific export in mind? Also, Governor Liu's America Rescue Plan includes 90,000 aquaculture feasibility study. Is your team exploring any agriculture or aquaculture options? Thank you for your time.
Well, I think if I can just address the agriculture matter, and I know Governor Calvo can chime in on this, especially because of Payless and the understanding of the supply chain. But anything that any island, especially an isolated island community like Guam, can do in providing produce and food products, whatever it may be, for local consumption, I think is extremely important. I also met with Severina out of originally from Rhoda, and she was explaining how she brings in sweet potatoes from Rhoda every week, and people and what she does is it's all pre-ordered, paid for, and they'd come and get it from her. And so this coordinated effort in whatever we can produce locally, I think is extremely important. I recall many years ago talking to Governor out of American Samoa, Tulafono, and he mentioned that they had problems of bringing in supply ships of the typical rice that they would consume and other meat products and produce. And because of that shortage, the mere fact that they had a very robust local agricultural backyard farmers and even commercial grade type farmers, that they were able to get past that difficult time. We have quite a number, several hundred local farmers that are registered and listed here on Guam. And I think we can also take a look at, with modern technology nowadays, with government support, to bring even production of produce and other agriculture or aquaculture products to a commercial level that can supply all the markets, and the food industry on Guam would be amazing. You've got the hotels, you've got the local supermarkets, you've got the mom and pop stores, you've got the base exchange, you've got the schools that require nutrition, and even there's many groups out there. If I may just add that in this afternoon or right now, they're probably distributing the food on weekends. A group called Friends in Need, they gather on Wednesdays and Saturdays. But on Saturdays, I know we feed an average of about 80 individuals. And the local farmers that have, sometimes they've got leftover vegetables they've not been able to sell, they would provide it, say, come. They would then freeze it and use it for meal prep on a Saturday, and serve up to 80 people plus.
Wow.
And so it benefits not only consumers, but even those that are in need, those that are hungry, those that would need a meal, those would need a lending hand, So, but I really think that we must do everything we can to support the local aquaculture industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was during the Republican administrations that, again, you take a look at the farmers co-op there in Dedido. Of course, we worked collaboratively with the late Senator Ben Pangilinan.
Yeah.
But the administrations, both Camacho and Calvo, worked to get that facility up. The funding came in the Republican administrations as well for the fishermen's co-op. And obviously there were some issues too. We having to work with Army Corps of Engineer and put extra funding, which I think they're working on right now, on the seawall, to ensure that it fulfills all requirements. But again, that work is finally happening. But that money came during our terms in office. So there's been a lot of work put by the Republican administrations even before this crisis that we're having here, and I know with your administration it will continue on. Remember the whole issue also working with the Northern Marianas in some of these onerous regulations about, we had an issue with our beef stock here in Guam,
The cattle, right?
the cattle, and we needed to ease some of these restrictions on getting
Cattle from Tinian to Guam.
exactly, and that's worked out. We're still, and there's so much opportunities now with the new airline coming up.
Yeah.
To get hopefully some of that that great sweet potato that's grown in Rhoda, brought here to Guam as well.
And I think, are you seeing an issue with produce that comes in with Payless?
Oh, Kayla, it's been tough. And it's a lot of these issues come with long before Ukraine, too. It was the COVID caused a lot of supply line issues and disruption of, again, really, I think some of the real onerous and difficult restrictions made not only here but by the federal government caused so much issues on production, on fertilizer, on the use of farmlands, and of course the trucking, the transportation. So you just saw last week where many supermarkets, including Payless, had a disruption because of a Matson vessel having a breakdown. And that's why I'm all with you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor, that we work towards solidifying our agriculture and aquaculture base here in Guam.
One individual with a vast background in agriculture had brought to my attention the need for a slaughterhouse on Guam. Now, recently, there was a very interesting event that occurred, I think, up north, where there is just an abundance of wild pigs, right? And so it was sanctioned and it was sponsored and authorized, where hunters would go out and shoot these the wild pigs, and then they showed photos of where they had a refrigerated container, a 40-footer, and the carcasses of these pigs that had not yet been gutted and cleaned were stacked in there, and word was put out, anybody that would like fresh pig meat, or come and get it, but you're going to be responsible for butchering it and taking care of it. It's up to you, so come and get it. But he says, the real difficulty in that whole situation that he could see was there's cross-contamination between these animals that have been shot, the blood being mixed. Although it may be in a refrigerated container, it's not the healthiest of situations. But he said if you had a slaughterhouse, even they have professional industry portable slaughterhouses that can be brought in with people that could properly deal with these carcasses and for safe consumption, then that would be good. But even beyond that, we have been even offered. People would say, "Hey, I'm going out hunting and I've got the license. I'm going to hunt for Binadu or Babinhalum Tono. So I've got a wild pig that I'm hunting for. Would you like some of that meat? But can you find someone to slaughter it?" I'm like, "No, I don't know if we can." But they were offering it. Could you use this even to feed the homeless? And so, we're looking at options where, man, that's great protein that if it was properly handled and quartered and taken care of, then we could safely prepare it for a good meal for those that in need. And so many interesting avenues, but certainly that's one of the industries that we would like to look at, and not necessarily government run, government perhaps backed and supported, but if it's run by the private sector, that could be a very good thing. I remember years ago, Chris Torres had a slaughterhouse up north near the Mingila Golf Course. I don't know the reasons why it was shut down, but that was in full operation.
Wow.
And then we have, of course, many local individuals right now, aside from a slaughterhouse, that are raising poultry, hens that have been brought in that are layers, and they're selling fresh produce or fresh eggs, and so there are many industries that are available if we can only support as a government and work with them. Let the private sector use their enthusiasm, their creativity, their energy. The government come in and support them in the way of permitting and financing, whatever the case may be, and allow these markets to flourish. I think we'd be good.
And that way we don't have to worry about a ship breaking down in the middle of the ocean and having our produce on it.
Our good friend, the chairman of the Republican Party, Juan Carlos Benitez, raises bees.
Yeah.
And I've tried his honey, and if you look at our supermarkets
absolutely.
now, the honey production business has really picked up on Guam, and there's a lot of...
I think Dennis Larson is another one that does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you take a look at some of what the potential we have, whether it's the honey.
Yeah.
Take a look at our avocados, our papayas. We're getting a lot of stuff from Mexico,
Yeah.
or the Philippines.
I was talking with Paul Packbeer about that, even Juan Carlos and Dennis, and the one thing about Guam and the honeybee is that there are no viruses, so it's really one of the few places remaining in the world where the queen bees and our honeybees are not contaminated, and so the honey that they're producing is of very high quality, but it's not to the quantity yet where it can be exported, but. Paul Packbeer is another person that has given me his sampled honey, and in fact, I believe he retails it. Just amazing! I just had some this morning.
Well, you know what I do? I buy, like I said, I get that local honey from our supermarket or from Juan Carlos.
Yeah,
and I got a calamansi tree that's bearing so much fruit. So
I'll take some of those.
God, I'll get you some. But really, when you get the calamansi and our local honey, make it I'll make myself a hot calamansi lemonade or what. But that you feel that this is a local product you got from your tree. You got this local honey. What better product to soothe your body and give
I
you a
make
healthy
an amazing
disposition.
calamansi lemonade using honey and or maple syrup and cayenne pepper. It is not only delicious but healthy. I'll make you a batch.
please
You just
do.
give me some calamansi and we
I'll
got a
get you
deal.
that.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, I'll give you some too, Senator.
There's
I'll
several of
give
us
you some.
here, Do we have another question there that we have time for?
Sure. I have one from David C.K. Chow. He asked, if you win, what will you do to boost Guam economy?
Okay.
So, Gov, I think we've been talking about this, about diversification of what kind of industries that we can bring here. And I think one of those important industries that we all know that is viable here is the ship repair. And what had happened prior to COVID was that they were taking U.S. ships out to Singapore, get repaired out there, and very once in a while we'll get one here, right? So during COVID, because the foreign countries closed, the ships came here for their repairs. But now that the countries are open again, they're taking these ships back out to be repaired in a foreign country. We need to work with the federal government in establishing that Guam should be the priority when ships need to be, port of call for repairs or scheduled maintenance, so that we'll be able to build up our ship repair facility once again on Guam. And I think way back, that used to be a very big industry here, wasn't it?
Before we started the show, I was talking to Governor Felix Camacho again. His push on education,
Right.
and particularly on charter schools. And you take a look at really right now in Guam, it doesn't have to be just a college education. Particularly with vocations. We both of us worked with the Guam Trades Academy, GCC.
Yeah.
You voted with the apprenticeship program bill, but that is where we can take a look at where we're going in terms of the job requirements, the industries that are going to be opening up in Guam. And we know construction for the next 10 years is going to be booming,
Right.
but areas like you just mentioned, but then getting the education component part of that. I know that's something you've been pushing for, and getting our kids prepared at the earliest stages, but not just, don't get an education on wokeness,
Right.
but getting an education so, we get opportunities. So when these kids graduate, and whether it's through college or through a trade school or some sort of certification, that there's a job waiting for them. So, again, I look forward to working with you on that. I know that's something that's so important with you, Governor Camacho.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I was just at Duenas Camacho and Associates, DCA, engineering firm. Of course, my brother Tom is a partner in there, and in talking with John Duenas and the others, Ken, that were there, they introduced me to individuals. As I went through the office, I went into the back area, but they introduced me to a certain individual who's a surveyor, and others that were planners, and others that young entrepreneurs that are coming in as understudies to get their engineering certification, a PE, professional engineer designation. And the fact that there are shortages of these skills that they can be trained and certified, there's a generation of these individuals that have been around for 30 years,
Right.
and are going into retirement, and they're like, we don't have anyone to succeed and follow us. So there are many opportunities out there for our youth, if they were interested in these specific areas, to be properly trained and certified. I mean, surveyors, planners, just amazing opportunities within these engineering firms to get out there. And they're good paying jobs. And these jobs are jobs that are absolutely necessary for any community. And they'll have a lifelong career. So we need to explore these opportunities where you're not just getting a college preparatory curriculum where you would go on to college, but actually you'd be prepped and ready to step into a job
Yeah. See?
upon graduation.
There we go. Well, we're coming up to wrapping up our time here on the show. I mean, imagine how quickly that went by. I think we're over at 40 minutes, but coming up on the trail, we have register to vote. We encourage everyone to exercise your right to vote. You can register to vote at the Guam Election Commission, located on the second floor of the Oka Building on Fahrenheit Avenue in Tamuning, or go online at www.gec.guam.gov. Individuals may opt to register to vote or update their voter registration record when they apply for a driver's license or Guam ID at the Department of Revenue and Taxation's Motor Vehicle Division, or you can visit your village mayor's office with deputized voter registers that are there now. District registration began Friday, August 5th at your village mayor's office. For our social media folks, ask questions through social media at Camacho Ada 4, FOR, Guam. Engage with us on the trail by asking us questions through any of our social media platforms on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Your questions can be sent to us in text, audio, or video. We look forward to engaging with you in the digital space and answering your questions on the show. Join us at our upcoming event this week. We have our Central District meeting on Friday, August 12th at 5 o'clock p.m. at the Blas residence, Ray Blas residence in Manila. Details and the map will be posted on social media. We have early voting that's still ongoing, and homebound voting begins on July 28th for the 2022 primary election at the Westin Hotel. So, and it's on Tuesday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the mezzanine level. Early voting will close on August 19th. And we will hope that you continue to join us on the trail. It's an exciting time for both of us and our Camacho Ada team. Governors, governors, you have both anything to say as we
Governor
close out
Eddie.
this show?
Well, man, I'm excited. Tomorrow I'll be at, again, the function in Agate, the Netadog residence. And I might as well tell you, I'm going to be doing some early voting next week so I can spend more time campaigning for you folks in election day. So
Awesome.
I'm anticipating Tuesday, Wednesday, going down to Westin Hotel, doing my early voting for your candidacy and for our other Republican candidates.
Thank you.
And then I'm looking forward to a very exciting and positive campaign over the next 2 months come November. So God bless you all, and thank you for inviting me. And again, anything I can do to help out with you, Governor Camacho, and you, soon-to-be Lieutenant Governor Ada, I look forward to a very successful campaign, and I'll be there with you at the victory party.
Thank you so much. Again, it was such a privilege to have you on board, and Senator, thank you. And
Gov, you want to
Senator,
close it out?
Yeah, I just want to just pray really for you and your family, and thank you. Lord, just we just lift up Eddie Calvo, his good family. We pray for continued success and prosperity for him and all that he does. And again, we just pray for your father, I know, and your mom. My mom is up there at 93, so we pray for her also. Yeah. They've lived long, good lives, and Lord, we just thank you for these good people and their service to you and the people. And if anything, Lord, we just thank you for the love. We do this for the love of our people and for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Bless
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you.
Hey,
So
hey.
that will bring this show to a wrap.
Amen.
Thank
That
you.
was fun.